Getting dark out and the birds are chirping, so had to close the window. Okay, before we get started, this is part 2 of Napoleon in Egypt, Battle of the Pyramids, 1798. I cut it short, the last one, because it looks like a battle's about to really get going. There's a thanks button on the channel. You can donate. You don't have to. All donations are appreciated. You can request videos. You can always request videos. If you donate, you can also request. They just move to the top of the list. If you don't donate and you request, they just get shuffled into an order. You can subscribe if anything that I've done is interesting enough to subscribe to. If you do, click the bell. And if you don't want to do any of that, just give me a thumbs up. I like to itch my nose a lot here, so let's get into the video.
On the sweltering afternoon of the 21st of July, Napoleon's forces approach Mbaba. He has 25,000 men, organised into 5 giant divisional squares, with cavalry and baggage inside, and cannon at every corner. Murad, with characteristic boldness, has crossed to the west bank of the Nile, leaving Ibrahim behind. Their forces total many thousands, but sources disagree wildly on just how many. His elite Mamluk cavalry, 6,000 strong, are deployed between the small village of Biktil and the well-fortified town of Mbaba, which is garrisoned by a mix of Ottoman infantry and peasant militia. Napoleon's plan is simple: to drive through the enemy centre and crush their right flank against the river. At 3:30 p.m, Desaix and Renier's divisions begin their advance. But as they move across the broken ground, their formation becomes disordered. Murad spots his chance and unleashes his cavalry. The Mamluks thunder forward at lightning speed. Desaix and Renier react just in time and close ranks. The French hold their fire until the last moment, then unleash a devastating volley. Horses and riders are sent tumbling. The survivors have no way to get to grips with the enemy, who continue pouring deadly fire into their midst. The Mamluks wheel back to regroup, but more charges meet the same result. Many Mamluks simply give up and flee the field. Napoleon orders the divisions of Bon and Vial to move forward. Once more, the Mamluk cavalry charge. Once more, the wave of horsemen shatters on French musketry and bayonets. With the enemy cavalry broken, Bon and Vival's men pour into Mbaba. It is a slaughter. Those who are not killed flee into the Nile, where hundreds drown. Murad Bey escapes with the remnants of his cavalry to Giza, from where he will withdraw to southern Egypt. Ibrahim Bey watches the calamity unfold across the river, then withdraws with his men back to Cairo. It is a crushing, one-sided victory that takes just 2 hours. The Mamluks suffer more than 5,000 casualties, with heavy losses among their elite cavalry and leadership.
Were the Mamluks charging? They were on horseback, but did they have guns, or was it just sword? Like they were going to come in and just start swinging swords? And they were just gunned down. So I'm guessing they were probably charging with sword, with a sword. Anybody know on that one? Comment if you could.
French losses are less than 300. Napoleon, with his usual flair for PR, decides this great victory will be known as the Battle of the Pyramids, just in sight to the south. On the 24th of July, Napoleon enters Cairo. Parts of the city are abandoned and in ashes after being torched by the Mamluks in their frantic withdrawal. Napoleon observes it would be difficult to find a richer land and a more wretched, ignorant and brutish people. Nonetheless, Cairo is the heart of Egypt, a city of 600,000 inhabitants, and is in French hands. With the Mamluks scattered and on the run, Napoleon's dream of eastern conquest seems about to be realized. Just 8 days later, the dream is shattered. At sea, Nelson and the British Mediterranean Squadron have not given up their hunt for the French fleet. Finally, on the afternoon of the 1st of August, Nelson finds the French sheltering in Aboukir Bay. With 14 ships of the line against 13, he decides to attack that evening. The British win a complete and stunning victory. The giant French flagship L'Orient is destroyed in a massive explosion. By the time it's over, the British have destroyed or captured 11 French ships of the line and taken more than 3,000 prisoners. With no fleet, Napoleon is stranded in Egypt. What's more, most of his army's cash has gone down with L'Orient. But Napoleon does not despair. If anything, he is invigorated by the crisis. His options are now simple. He and his army must support themselves in this foreign land, or perish. While General Desaix is sent south in pursuit of Murad Bey, Napoleon sets about reforming the administration of Egypt. The old feudal system is abolished. A postal service and hospitals are set up, and a new tax system introduced. Napoleon establishes the Institute of Egypt for scientific and scholarly research. He shows great interest in and respect for Islam, funding the construction of mosques and encouraging the observance of religious festivals. Such engagement later leads to rumours that Napoleon actually converted to Islam, but it is merely a tactic to curry local favour. Napoleon also grapples with news that his wife Josephine has resumed her affair with an ex-lover. It is, he's told, common knowledge amongst Paris society. He consoles himself with affairs of his own, including one with an officer's wife. All the while, French efforts to win over the local population are failing. Most Egyptians see only foreign occupiers and infidels. The situation is already at boiling point. Minor revolts break out across the Nile Delta, which are brutally suppressed by the French. Then in September, from Constantinople, Sultan Selim III declares a holy war against the French. Now, the situation in Egypt is about to explode. Cairo, the 21st of October, 1798. General Dupuy, Cairo's military governor, is called out to break up a disturbance. He finds the locals erecting barricades, is set upon and killed. Soon the whole city is up in arms. The French fight back with ruthless discipline and crush the revolt. Some 300 French soldiers are killed, alongside several thousand Egyptians. Napoleon ostentatiously pardons the ringleaders, while quietly telling Berthier that every rioter caught with a weapon is to be beheaded and thrown into the Nile. The French have bloodily reasserted control in Cairo. But it is...
Did he publicly pardon the ringleaders, but all the people who were involved, he had them killed? Like, did he make... Like, I say that, did he say it publicly, like, no, what happened is fine, I'm pardoning these people, I understand, but everyone who contributed, he had them killed? Like, they were quietly taken out and killed, but these people were pardoned? Or was it known that, hey, look, I'm pardoning them, but I'm killing all... You know, if he, you know, trying to win the people over clearly has not worked, but executing them, I understand you have to assert some sort of control, but you can't... I hate to say this, but you can't... I didn't say it. Oh, now I have to... I had to yawn, sorry. No, I was going to say, I hate to use this phrase, but it's kind of overkill to kill a lot. Does that make sense? Back to the video.
Clear, Napoleon will never win the hearts and minds of the Egyptians.
Let me go back, because I apparently kind of knew what I was talking about. Okay.
Did control in Cairo. But it is clear, Napoleon will never win the weapon is to be beheaded and thrown into the Nile. The French have bloodily reasserted control in Cairo. But it is clear, Napoleon will never win the hearts and minds of the Egyptians. The next few months see the French languish in Cairo. There is limited communication with France, much homesickness, and a dwindling supply of stores, ammunition, and wine. There is also an outbreak of bubonic plague, which torments the army and further thins its ranks. The only action is in the south, where General Desaix's column, 2,800 men, pursue Murad Bey deep into Upper Egypt. In this epic chase, one officer distinguishes himself. A 28-year-old cavalry brigadier named Louis-Nicolas Davout. On the 22nd of January 1799, he and Desaix inflict a serious defeat on Murad Bey, scattering his remaining forces. Murad himself escapes and remains at large. But such military victories do little to change the outlook for Napoleon's expedition. They remain 1,600 miles from France, with no prospect of reinforcements or getting home. Napoleon briefly puts his hopes on a diplomatic solution. France's foreign minister, the brilliant, urbane and slippery Charles Maurice de Talleyrand, had been an early supporter of the Egyptian expedition.
Side note, I think Talleyrand, was it John Adams, our second president, John Adams sent an envoy to France because there was potential for, we had the it was like a proxy war with France, the quasi war, that's what it was called. And we sent delegates to France to basically end it. And that Telluride, if it's the same one, which that name is, unless it's a common name, and he was a diplomat, was very much into the bribery system. And so he was wanting the Americans to contribute, and hey, pay me off, and blah, blah, blah. And it did not work out. And the Americans were very insulted because that's not how they were going to conduct business. So it just, when I see that name, it just kind of like, oh, okay, that's the same person. Maybe.
He's assured Napoleon that he will personally travel to Constantinople to smooth relations with the Sultan and win Egypt for France. But Talleyrand never leaves Paris. The Sultan remains furious at France's attack on his Egyptian province. There is to be no negotiation and no compromise. Orders have gone out to every corner of the Ottoman Empire to raise troops to drive out the French invader. Napoleon's position looks more desperate than it's ever been. His troops cut off, disease-ridden, in the midst of a hostile population. He will respond in the way that seems obvious to him, as it would to his hero Alexander. He will attack. One of the most important skills for any historian is to be able to critically evaluate sources of information. Who's sharing it, why, and what's their bias? Napoleon himself, for example, was a notoriously unreliable narrator of his own life. Today, we need these critical skills just to navigate the media landscape. Take the war in Ukraine. Anyone following the conflict knows that information varies from reliable to biased to outright fabrication. But which is which? Now there's a website and app that helps you to understand where your news is coming from. Ground News, our video sponsor, is a website and app on a mission to give readers an easy, data-driven, objective way to read the news. They don't just aggregate the news from multiple sources. Every story comes with...
Okay, so there's this is just the ad. Had I known, which I hate to say that, I would have just done the whole video as one, because it's just under that threshold. But I didn't realize, so that's my fault. So we know that there is a part two. It covers Napoleon in Egypt, I think 1799. That one is like 30 some minutes. That'll be another two-parter. But anyways, sorry about that. But hey, look, it was still a good video. I enjoyed it, and this is Epic History TV. Epic History. Oh, they not Epic History TV anymore? They changed that? Epic History TV. Huh. Okay, well, whatever they want. Epic History. Epic History, Epic History TV. It's all the same. Still a great channel. So, until next time, have a good day, have a good night.